After Sanan collapsed, the captains rushed into the room. They must have heard the commotion from the common room. Go away, mouse. I see you peeking up there. Everything glowed white after, and I realized that I was in a daze. None of their words stuck in my ear, and I wobbled back to my room. Well, that's understandable. Hi? Seriously. You can really be a pain, you know that. Well, excuse me for summoning you. Okita had taken me back to my room, and I heard him as soon as he opened the door for me. Time for you to explain what went on last night. Why were you in there with Sanan? Okita was never particularly pleasant to me, but his tone was even harsher than usual. I felt like there was someone in the common room. I was curious, so I had a look. I found Sanan in there. I see. Okita's lackadaisical response seemed disarming, and he just scanned me. Although my mind had cleared somewhat, it was still difficult to keep my thoughts organized. One, however, rose quickly to the surface. Is it true that my father had something to do with that stuff that Sanan drank? Did Sanan tell you that? Yes. He said it makes you stronger, but it drives you mad. He fixed his eyes warily on the ceiling above us, sighing before eventually answering my question. You are the daughter of the man who made that stuff, and you've seen what happens to the men who go crazy. I suppose you do have a right to know. It'd be easier to just kill you, but... ah, well. His manner of speaking was far removed than his usual joking self when he mentioned killing, but this time it felt like he meant it. He could kill me at any time. Promises, promises. So, you got any questions? I suppose I can answer one. I desperately searched for the words. Why did the Shinsengumi get involved in something like this? Our job is to crack down on outlaw Ronin, but... you know that doing so isn't some walk in the park, right? Yeah. Among the Ronin, there are plenty that are actually skilled swordsmen. When I was on rounds, I saw many such men fighting and dueling amongst themselves. When we started out, we were really short on men. Our reputation was shit, and we couldn't pay that well either. Anyway, we didn't have many people asking to join, and those that did were pretty disappointing. That was when some guy from the shogunate showed up and offered to make us part of this experiment. An experiment? That must have been what Sanan was referring to. So, you knew what the side effects were and you still made them take it? We didn't make them take it. It was their choice. You see, the Shinsengumi has this thing called the Rules of Conduct. Shinsengumi regulations that were to be strictly obeyed, as the penalty for disobedience was honorable suicide. It was also referred to as the Code. Just so you don't get all confused, it's a set of rules we employ to keep everyone in line. Usually, if you break our rules, we make you cut yourself open. Cut yourself open? Why are you so surprised? The only way a warrior can own up to something is by cutting themselves open. Traditionally, when samurai disgraced themselves, they drove their swords into their bellies. I had thought such traditions were obsolete, and that now the worst they do is pretend to cut themselves open with a fan. You get it, right? If they're gonna die anyways, don't you think it makes more sense for them to save some face and take it into their own hands? For these guys, we gave them a choice. Kill yourself or drink the Shogun's concoction. You get it? Don't you feel bad for them? I couldn't think of anything to say. What sort of choice was that? Death by your own hand, or madness and death by someone else's? The men that I'd encountered that winter night, had their last thoughts as men been hoped they might survive the madness? It sounded horrible. Well, at least I know now why Okita is feeling bad for them. Something that makes you strong and hard to kill should be really great, right? In actuality, though, they ended up being a piece of cake. We could easily kill them all. In a moment, I was taken back to that fateful night when Okita dispatched the warriors with white hair without any effort. I wonder what's going to happen to Sanan. I was worried too. Was Sanan okay? Would he change? My stomach was twisting itself into knots. Only time will tell. Maybe we can make an antidote from my blood? Guys? And so, the long night broke. The captains of the Shinsengumi gathered in the common room.
Okay, everyone, don't worry. The hardest part for him is over.
The room collectively breathed a sigh of relief.
So, how is Sanan? He's still asleep. Looks pretty peaceful.
So, has Sanan gone crazy like the others?
Inoue simply shook his head.
We won't know for sure until he wakes up. For now, he looks just like he always has, aside from the white hair.
Suddenly, then, the door slid open. Oh, you.
Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing?
Aw, shit, Ito.
That wasn't the warm welcome I expected. My, you all look rather glum.
Well, isn't it obvious that it's because we have to see your face in the morning?
My, Nagakura, darling, you're such a jokester.
Ito dismissed Nagakura's snide remark, and he turned to face the standing warriors.
Come now, why the long faces, everyone? It has to do with the happenings of last night, I presume.
No.
Desperately, Kondo's eyes flew around the room as if looking for someone to offer an excuse.
Sano, make something up! What? Me? Well, you see, yesterday...
You're a miserable actor. Keep your mouth shut.
How about you leave the explaining to someone who can string two words together, Okita turned to Saito expectantly, and the latter spoke up at once.
As you may have heard, Deputy Commander Ito, an incident occurred last night at headquarters.
My, an incident, you say?
Yes. However, we have yet to assume a real grasp on the situation. An attempt to make an explanation now is a risk of confusion from inaccurate information. If you wish, I would be happy to provide you with a more detailed report this afternoon.
I see. I understand. I shall look forward to receiving the details this evening. Very well then, good day.
Ito brandished another strange smile, stood, nodded, and left the room promptly.
Seems like he let us off easy.
What do you mean?
Ito has his wits about him. We shouldn't have let him see all of us together. The only man missing was Sanan. It won't take Ito long to realize something's happened to him.
Oh. Ito had likely guessed at what took place, but decided not to press the issue. Sanan! Oh, his hair's back to normal. What? Wait. How did that... Did he dilute it enough? I had looked up just in time to see Sanan shuffle through the door. Sanan!
Hey, come on, guys. Don't stare at me like I'm some kind of monster. Sanan! You sure you should be up and about? I'm only a little drained, sore. A side effect of my new... condition, I suppose. Those who've taken the draught often find activity during daylight hours to be especially taxing.
Interesting.
Sanan looked a little pale, but it didn't look too difficult for him to stand and speak. But if it's hard for him to move during the day...
am no longer a human being.
Those words sunk our hearts heavily. Even the captains fell silent to his solemn admission.
Oh, Sanan. Who cares what you are? You're alive! That's good enough for me.
Kondo stood and grabbed Sanan's shoulders tightly, his expression bright and endearing. Tears nearly welled in his beaming eyes. So how's your arm? Has it healed?
I haven't fully recovered yet, so I would withhold any final judgment, but...
He lifted his left arm, the arm that before had hung limp at his side, and flexed his hand. It didn't look any different than before his injury.
It seems to have been healed. At the very least, it is no longer a hindrance.
Thank goodness. In spite of the chaos from last night, his wish to use his arm once more came true. However,
You can't go out in the sun, though, right? Will you still be able to fight with us?
his voice was calm, almost careless.
I have an idea. Tell everyone I died.
What?
From now on, I will serve in the Corps to remind them, and us, that success is possible.
Sanan, have you lost your mind? Do you know what you're saying?
Of course I do. Do you, Nagakura? The Shogun had ordered us to keep this thing a secret. If I, die, the Shogun's secret remains so. Besides, consider the possibilities of the side effects being managed, or even removed. What reason do we have not to use it?
They seemed to be against Sanan's idea, though no one said anything. Who would want to consign a friend to a life of secrecy, lived in shadows? But
We were given this task by the Shogun himself. I suppose this is our only choice.
well, this is what you asked for, Sanan. And besides, you're not the type to listen either.
You know me well, don't you? You couldn't have been more accurate.
Hijikata scoffed at Sanan's suggestion, and bitterness frothed from his words. This means moving to a new location isn't something we can put off any longer. If we're going to hide Sanan from Ito and his men, we need more space. This place won't cut it.
I agree. If we intended to begin research again, then a move is even more urgent.
Alright, everyone. Even though none of you got much sleep, we need to attend to business. Yukimura, you go back to your room. I know you didn't sleep much. Okay. Understood. Please, excuse me. I bowed to everyone and left the common room. I'm happy that Sanan was safe, but a whole flurry of new concerns arose. Learning of my father's horrible work. What will become of me? Will I be safe? Such thoughts buzzed heavily in my head as I walked back to my room. Well, it's June now. Things are definitely interesting, to say the least. I can't believe Sanan's dilution worked? I mean, aside from not being able to go in the sun? June 1865. Our emperor had passed, and our year moved from the 2nd of Ganji to the 1st of Keo. It was 3 months since we'd moved the headquarters to Nishi Hangwanji. After leaving Mibu, the Shinsengumi relocated their headquarters to the Nishi Hangwanji Temple. New place. There's a lot more room, but more room meant, well, farther to walk. I'd walked through it almost every day for weeks, and I was finally beginning to learn my way around. As I turned a corner near the back of the compound, I caught sight of someone sitting in the shadows. There you are, Sanan. Your food's ready.
Oh, hello. Thank you.
The snow disappeared, the cherry blossoms bloomed and fled, and now the swallows and the heat came. Sanan and I exchanged a pair of smiles, and I held out my hands to let the breeze brush across them. It's really gotten warm lately.
Yes, it has. Unfortunately, the increased sunshine has been more unpleasant for me than the heat.
Really? I didn't think the sun was particularly strong that day, but to Sanan, who hid in the shadows and out of sight during the day, it must have been unbearable. The night he changed, Sanan's hair turned white, and in his eyes was a thirst for blood. I wonder why Sanan is a terminology thing now. Ah. He was officially recorded as deceased, but he in fact drank the water of life and became a Fury. He is in command of the Fury Corps. We have a Corps of Furies? Interesting. At least he's, like, kind of happy again, though, which is nice to see. Yeah, but looking at his peaceful smile now made it hard to imagine such a night was real. If someone told me it was all a bad dream, I would have believed it. It wasn't a dream, though, and now Sanan spends his days hiding from the sunlight and from others. For just a moment, the sun lit on Sanan's hair. Ah! I didn't know if it was a trick of the light, or simply my mind being foolish, but in that moment his hair was a brilliant white.
Is something the matter? You look as though you've seen a ghost, which I hardly feel is polite.
Oh, no, nothing at all. He looked perfectly normal now, of course. Surely I thought I must have simply imagined it. Probably not. Even if I had, there was no denying that he was the same man who went mad with bloodlust. The fear of the night cast a shadow over my heart. It was unnerving. Heisuke and I made our way through the crowded as usual streets of Kyoto at a brisk pace. I hope I'm saying his name correctly now. You know, I haven't gone out on patrol with you in quite a while, Heisuke. You look great in that robe. Huh? Oh, yeah, I guess not. Edo had me pretty busy. So how was it while I was gone? Shin and Sano didn't bug you while I was gone, did they? Everything was fine, and they were kind to me. Ah, that's good. So, any updates on your dad? Did you find any leads?
None at all.
Ah, I see. I stopped by your old place in Edo with the information you gave me, but, well, there were no signs of anyone returning. Seriously, I wonder where he went. The somberness of Heisuke's expression started to rub off on me. Now I was depressed. Oh. Thank you for taking the time to look anyway. There is nothing to thank me for. I mean, the fact you're not allowed to come and go as you please is completely our fault. Heisuke? Heisuke stopped himself mid-sentence, which was jarring. Ever since he returned from Edo, he's looked glum. Hey, Heisuke? How about you? It's been a while since you were in Kyoto. Does it seem different from Edo? Well, I sort of feel like the town has changed. So have the people. Huh? I wondered what was going through his head. Did something happen to him in Edo? His sudden change of character confused me. Yeah, he's not quite so happy-go-lucky anymore. Heisuke's head jerked up slightly, and he looked across the street. He stood on his toes and waved. Hey! Souji! Find anything over there? Nope. Everything's normal. Okita was out on patrol as well, although his route took him through a different part of the city. Well, normal for now, at least. I'm sure things will pick up once the Shogun gets here. The Shogun's coming to visit Kyoto? Yep, it's got Kondo all worked up, too. Kondo truly respects Shogun Iemochi. Ah, I see. I hope it turns out well. Right, Heisuke? Oh, yeah? Yeah, I bet he is. Huh? Something had really gotten into him. I glanced at Okita to see if he noticed anything. Okita? Are you alright? I'm fine. I think I just caught a cold or something. Ah, I see. Well, please take care of yourself. This is a very awkward conversation. I have medicine to treat colds, so I'll give you some when we return. Oh yeah, thanks. I guess having you around comes in handy at times. What's the matter? Okita's eyes looked past me, and suddenly something caught his attention off to the side. Whoa, whoa! What do you mean, no? Oh. A beautiful lady.
Stop it! Let go of me!
We're patriots, fighting every day to kick those damn foreigners out of our country. You owe us a little booze. Or maybe even, a little company. Oh no. A person who devotes themselves to their country, sometimes going so far as to give their life in the process. I'm sure these guys are true patriots. Across the street, a clump of perhaps 3 or 4 men were harassing a young girl. Okita! Heisuke! I see them. Stay here. But it appeared that Okita got to them first. Well, well. Guess patriots aren't what they used to be, with men like you throwing the title around. The usual crowd shuffled away from Okita and the men as quickly as they could. No one wanted to be near the sight of unsheathed blades. The Ronin's eyes found Okita's jacket and the men stiffened.
You're one of those Shinsengumi fellas, ain't ya?
Ah, you must be the brains. So tell me, Chief, what's it gonna be? His lips curled into a predatory smile as his hand gripped his sword. There was no mirth in that rictus grin, and the Ronin's faces grew much paler. Their moves were not totally deflated yet, as their ringleader made one more attempt. God damn it. Get out of here, you brown-nosing son of a bitch! Shut up. If you really want to live, maybe you should follow your own advice. The sight of 2 Shinsengumi blue jackets standing shoulder to shoulder was enough to deter the men.
Screw you guys!
That's what I thought. The last of the color drained from their faces, and they turned tail and ran. If they're gonna just run away at the sight of us, then they never should have picked a fight with us in the first place. You aren't going to go after them? Arrest them? And charge them with which crime, exactly? Didn't figure you for the iron fist sort. I didn't really mean it like that.
Thank you for saving me. My name is Kaoru Nagumo.
The protagonist saved this girl while on patrol with Okita and Todo. She bears a striking resemblance to the protagonist. She does actually look quite a bit like Chizuru, doesn't she? Like a prettier version. Sorry, Chizuru. And I wouldn't quite say I saved her. I would argue Okita noticed stuff first and was already over there. I watched as the girl gave Okita a quick bow. She was so refined, so ladylike. Even dressed like a girl, I doubted I could ever be as elegant as her. Whoa. I'd only just begun to feel sorry for myself when suddenly I felt a hand on my arm. Whoa! Okita? Calm down, kid. Come here and stand next to her. Man, I am so boyish looking. You guys could definitely pass for siblings, though, my goodness. He shoved me next to the girl we'd just rescued and stepped back to stroke his chin thoughtfully. Okita? I glanced nervously toward the girl and attempted to smile kindly under the circumstances. The smile she gave me in return was beautiful, but there was something about it that seemed odd. She seems familiar. Is she really my sister? Have I forgotten that I have a sister? Just as I thought. They look just like each other. We look like... That's when I finally realized. She was identical to whom I saw in the mirror. Oh, Chizuru.
Really? I don't think they look alike at all.
No, they're practically identical. Dress the kid up like a girl and you wouldn't be able to tell them apart.
Okita, she seems troubled.
Oh, did you say she? Do you realize I'm a lady? Am I not still dressed? I'm still dressed like a guy though, right? I'm confused. I have to say something, but what? Perhaps she saw through my confusion, or perhaps it was something else.
I wish to thank you properly, but I'm afraid you've caught me in the middle of an important errand which I must attend to. Please forgive my rudeness. I hope I will be able to repay you soon, Okita the Shinsengumi.
With that, the girl who called herself Kaoru disappeared into the crowds of Kyoto, although the uneasiness created by her presence remained.
Hey! Looks like she's got the hots for you, Souji.
Aw man, I gotta fight my own sister. Ha! Oh, Heisuke. Is that really what you think? You've got a long way to go before you're at Sano's level.
What? What the hell's that supposed to mean?
Their back and forth continued, but my mind was elsewhere. Last night's rain left a number of puddles on the road, and when I looked into them, I saw a strange girl who looked just like me. Kaoru, huh? Wind caught the surface of the puddle, sending a flurry of ripples across it.
Come on, let's get moving.
Alright, I'm coming. I turned and ran toward Heisuke and Okita, already on their way back to headquarters. Random but interesting. The temple was much larger than the compound in Mibu, as advertised. The whole Shinsengumi could gather in the common room with space to spare. As Kondo spoke, his voice echoed grandly throughout the hall. Standing before Kondo were the many proud men under his leadership with glowing expressions.
By now, I imagine you have all heard that Iemochi Tokugawa, the 14th shogun of the Tokugawa shogunate, will be visiting our city of Kyoto.
The 14th Tokugawa shogun. He married Emperor Komei's sister in support of imperial unification, and he was popular with the emperor and the vassals.
The Shinsengumi have been asked to guard him as he passes through the city on his way to Nijo Castle.
A castle built by the Tokugawa shogunate to house the shogun while he was in Kyoto.
What? The Shinsengumi guards the shogun? Wow, that's one big promotion. Huh. Too hard for them to ignore us after Ikeda and Hamaguri, huh? Our work's finally paying off.
Guess you could say the fate of the country will be resting on our swords, huh?
That's exactly it. You guys better be ready for it.
Guarding the shogun? That is one big role. Indeed. If only Sanan was alive, he would have been so happy. How truly dreadful to have lost such an ally.
Ito wiped crocodile tears away from his eyes with a silk handkerchief. Of course. Ito and his followers and ilk were told Sanan died. In fact, the entire incident surrounding his transformation had been covered up. Only a few of the men of the Shinsengumi knew the truth.
Aw, Ito. I think performing the job given to us by the shogun is what Sanan would have wanted.
Yes, I understand. This is an excellent opportunity for us to thrust our name into the forefront of the masses.
Things are going to get pretty hectic soon.
We ought to get our assignments hashed out. To begin, I'd like Toshi, Souji, and myself to... Sorry, Kondo, but you think maybe Souji can sit this one out? Why's that? Supposedly his cold hasn't recovered. I've repeatedly told him to take care of himself. What? Souji, is this true? Are you alright?
The demon's just being a mother hen, sir. I think I'm fine.
Don't give me that crap. You just about coughed up a lung earlier.
Is that your excuse to sell me some meds? No matter what, I won't buy a sheet of medicinal powder.
That's not what I'm trying to do. Just shut up and follow my orders.
I gave Okita some pretty strong medicine not too long ago. I wonder if that didn't work. He probably didn't take it. Or maybe he doesn't have a cold, but rather he's inhaling dust from the lack of cleaning here? Then, suddenly someone raised his hand.
What's the matter, Heisuke? Something on your mind?
Kondo? I'm not feeling so great either.
You too, Heisuke? You better take care of yourself. This is our time to shine. I was hoping to have all of us there to greet the Shogun.
Something really did happen to Heisuke, because he's usually like, "Aw, don't leave me behind, guys."
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, no, your health comes first. Always. I'm sure you'll have another chance. I just have to make sure you get to do something spectacular.
Kondo and Hichikata continued to discuss their formation, but... Suddenly Hichikata turned to me.
Alright, what are you going to do?
What?
Don't give me that. I'm asking if you're coming with us or not.
I can go too?
Of course, we certainly won't mind. After all, you're practically one of us. If you want, I'd love to have you come.
Could I? Could I really go? I hesitated for a moment, confused, and Okita laughed. Why don't you go? It doesn't seem too dangerous either.
Yeah, the Choshu domain can't come in or out of Kyoto, so I'm sure there will be no fights.
I'm sure. What should I do? I'm just a little concerned about a person, like me, who's not a warrior coming along, but... I was feeling emotionally strained with no leads of my father turning up on rounds. I'll go. Aw, but I want to stay with Okita.
Alright then. I figured we'd put you in charge of running errands as a messenger. I'm using the hell out of you, so brace yourself.